Then Jesus will come to a point and say, sit here, let's go. I have always found out from the scripture that anytime they tell you wait here, let the real people go yonder, then you have not been counted as people who are worthy to receive the heavier matters of the kingdom. It was Elijah that began to teach us the same principle. He came and met Elijah and told him, wait at Jordan. I want to go and offer. He said, no, your soul liveth. I will never leave you. And they crossed and crossed until we found out it's not as if Elijah wanted Elisha to leave. He simply wanted to know how much he wanted this. That's why some people, have you noticed, when you start praying after praying for 2 hours, you feel, man, I prayed today. Have you not done it before? You feel like I prayed today. There's a way you carry your shoulder. Don't you do it? There's a way you read Bible like this. You say, Kai, I did some business today. You might even be looking for who to lay hands on because of, people like you are the people that Elijah told, wait for me at Jordan. We want to cross over. There is a place we are going. We have not gotten to that place. So Jesus called the rest of the disciples and then told them to wait. When you read further, you find out that he called out 3, Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, and said, come, let me show you something. Anytime Jesus does something like this, then know that the matter in context is something that is an intrinsic part of his operation. Are you with me? Every time Jesus did it, it is what he's trying to reveal to them has the context, the reality backing it is eternal in scope. Is it when he unveiled himself? The Bible said as he prayed, the fashion of his countenance was altered. Such was what happened on that mountain that he told them, don't say it. Don't say it yet. He is revealing to them eternal matters. You know, there are things you don't want to tell others. If you tell them, they might faint. If you tell them, they might not understand. If you tell them, so you just come and call it. In fact, the reason why he calls them is for them to just be witnesses. It is not as if he expected them to participate in those things. He unveiled himself and he shined bright. That was when we found out that the man sitting with them and eating with them was not their mate. He is the eternal God himself, clothed in the flesh. And simply because he's shaking hands with you, you thought he's a normal man. You don't know he's your maker and creator. John will come and say, the one I lean on his shoulders. You don't know the man yet. That is why we engage this type of prayers. Because when you engage it, the first thing that happens to you is God revelation. That's the first purpose of prayer. That is where God reveals himself. If God has not revealed himself and you know him, you can't know yourself. And no man will be able to fulfill his destiny upon the face of the earth that is not aware of his identity. You can't talk about identity, your identity, without knowing God's identity. It is the revelation of God that brings us to the revelation of ourselves. You are nothing outside of him. You are just an extract of him, a miniature of whom he is. Are you with me now? So if you want to know yourself, the only way is to see him. As we behold him like in a mirror, we are changed into the same image, from one layer of glory to another layer. Glory is such that it has capacity to excel. Means that if it is true that you engaged it, you can't meet it at the same point where you met it yesterday. Are you with me now? It is made intrinsically with capacity to revive itself, to refresh itself, to increase in measure. Are you with me? When Jesus called them out, He began to show them deep things. He said, and he took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee and began to be sorrowful and very heavy. Huh? Have you pondered on the scripture, my friend? What is Jesus crying for here? What is he crying for? Why is he being sorrowful? Somebody that has walked on water, somebody that raised the dead after 4 days. What is he crying for? After you have done this thing, you should have reached the apex of your ministry. You will yet understand what the Father seeks. When a man begins to engage, is different from what we seek. What he drinks of is your soul travail. Your soul travail. Your soul travail. You reign forever, your name is ever great. You are the wisdom before time began. You reign forever, your name is ever great. You are the wisdom before time began. Then he said unto them, my soul is exceeding sorrowful. One of the things I've learned about Jesus is that he is so careful about the words he used. Have you noticed? Such that one of the major things the scripture said, or rather even Jesus himself spoke about, saying that it will come to judgment, is words. Many times Jesus said the words you speak will be brought to judgment. Every word you spoke. Have you ever pondered on it? Some of the things you think will be brought to judgment, Jesus did not specifically mention them. But the one that was mentioned multiple places is the words that you speak. And he has realized, he has said it many times, the words I speak to you, they are spirit and they are life. He knew that his words is such that it will be the bedrock of people's life and living. So he cannot just come and he doesn't joke with you. He doesn't have time to joke. In case it looks like a joke, it has become a reality simply because he spoke it. Are you with me? Jesus will come and laugh and say, you are a billionaire. There is nothing with his joke, but you will now become billionaire. Because before he jokes, he jokes with reality. He is serious with reality. Everything he is doing is with reality. I'm not saying you cannot be humorous, but even when Jesus is humorous, he will still stick to reality. For example, when he said, for men ought always to pray, and he said a certain woman is humorous, meanwhile it's still reality. He doesn't have time to go and be dilly-dallying and all this. No, he doesn't have time. He sticks to it. Follow me. He now said, so he now made this statement. Scripture spoke about the state, the condition of his heart and his being, and him himself have to repeat it as a statement to the people that went with him to that mountain. He said, my soul is exceeding sorrowful unto what? No, you didn't. Unto death. Is this really true? Have you been sorrowful unto death? I will show you why some of your prayers have not been answered. Some of the things you seek, you have not been able to lay hold on it. You have not been able. You can even fast for 1,000 days. Nothing has happened. Because the measure of soul travail contained in all those engagements is not even up to 5%. Are you with me now? When I get to my point, you will now see that what I'm trying to say is that in the 1 hour that you prayed, how much of your soul is poured into it? So there are people, that is why you cannot afford to study Bible absent-minded, distracted, pray absent-minded. You cannot. That is even basic level. The mature level is that you pour your soul. Jesus is telling you, the way I am now, The sorrow in my heart is like I'm unto death. I'm at the pains of death, the throes of death, the pangs of death. That's what he's saying. So you that is seeing him might think he's praying, but him knows that he's looking death face to face. Are you with me now? For all the while he knelt down at Gethsemane, he was looking death face to face. And now he is showing in the book of Hebrews. For the scripture says in the book of Hebrews chapter 5, he said that he raised a strong cry to him that is able to what? Save him from death. He said he was heard in that he feared. He was looking death face to face. That was his condition. It is you that thought he was praying. He was not praying. There are men that will kneel down and in 5 minutes, in 10 minutes, in 1 hour, in 2, in 6 hours, however long they knelt, their soul will be poured into that prayer. And then the Father sitting on the throne will pick it up as a drink offering. When he drinks it, he will be satisfied. I see people praying and fasting. They are just doing it to fulfill all quota, to say you fasted. There is certain levels. There are certain things you can only accomplish with that level of engagement. There are certain places in God you cannot enter with that level of engagement. Are you with me now? There are basic things you can interact with. When God begins to require things, what he requires is in the measure of souls, in the measure of life. Life is poured out. That's how he comes. So you begin to matter to the extent that your life has been poured out as a drink offering. So when people come and say, I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me, what is he saying? It is men that have poured their life as it's not a quotation, it's not a Christian creed. There is what we call the Apostolic Creed, the Nicene Creed, the Athanasian Creed. This is not a creed. This is a reality in the spirit that a man indeed can pour out his life. And then when God picks it up, he drinks it, and then he's satisfied with the quota of your soul that is poured. Are you with me now? These are men that God cannot look away from what they are doing. He can't look away. The Bible spoke about Jesus. He said that he was heard in that he feared. Such is the heart of man. Such is the place that you enter in God. Then your engagement will be that which God himself cannot deny. How much of your soul is poured into your prayer? How much? How much? His soul was so poured out in his prayer, as we are going to read yet, that even his body cannot contain the reaction that is taking place in his soul. Are you with me? There is a reaction taking place inside it. Even him, there is no human words for him to communicate the reaction that takes place inside of the chamber of his soul when he began to pray, when he began to engage the immortal dimensions of him. When men begin to pray and engage God in such realm and in such dimension, then there is nothing in the natural world that can contain the density and intensity of your engagement. It's not possible. In fact, the scripture said that the sweat coming out of his body is like the thickness of blood. It is not biologically possible. Meanwhile, a man that his soul has been poured out is not aware of the biological reactions, things happening to his body. Such a man, I know a man once, and he prayed until the muscles of his body tore into pieces, and he was not aware. Jesus stared death face to face, and he said, I am sorrowful unto death. You can't come to that place and not turn the eyes of the one that sits upon the throne. This is the things that turn his heart. When he begins to look upon our engagements, our fasting, our searching, our seeking, he will begin to measure how much of our life and soul has been poured into it as a drink offering. It's possible you have presented to him drink offering, but he has not come in such a measure, in such a quota, that he is satisfied with what you are doing. If he is satisfied, then there will be triggers and reactions from heaven. He said when he drank it, he was satisfied. It is that satisfaction that God gets from our engagement, our interaction. That is what we seek. That is why we come. Whenever we come, we shift our gaze, we shift our gear, we engage the high realms of God. The desire, the import, the pursuit, the target is that we get to that place where our soul is poured out like a drink offering. Why have you not poured your soul? My soul is exceeding sorrowful. My soul is exceeding sorrowful. My soul is exceeding sorrowful. We see believers that walk around with levity. The scripture spoke about men that wrestle things out of the heart of God, out of the hand of Satan. He said that they strove even to the shedding of blood. They were willing to go any length for what they want. That's why some of us engage prayer and fasting. By the time I'm entering, I've decided that it's you that is saying, let me fast 21 days, let me fast 3 days, and then no, there is no end to the fasting. You need to define the target. What do you want? What do you want? Is when you define what you want, you will now know that it takes a level of soul travail. Your soul poured out like a drink offering. Then the man you are pouring it out will drink it. When he's satisfied, I will show you what will happen when God's heart is satisfied. Only you can satisfy my soul. Only you can satisfy my soul. Only you can satisfy my heart. Satisfy my soul. Only you can satisfy my soul. Only you can satisfy my soul. Satisfy my soul. Only you can satisfy my soul. Only you can satisfy my soul. Satisfy my soul. Only you can satisfy my soul. Only you can satisfy my soul. Men that understand this mystery pour out their soul anytime they talk. When your soul is poured like a drink offering, even when you want to communicate with unbelievers, what you will notice is that your heart is pumped full with the compassion of God. In that state, there is no unbeliever that will hear your words and refuse it, because you are filled with the travail. Your soul has become a theater where God can display his motions. The posture that you have taken is a representation of that which is happening in the heavenlies. It seems as if God has taken possession of your heart. Men cannot understand the posture you have taken. Sometimes we bend our knees because that is the posture that the soul travail have taken. Sometimes we crawl, sometimes we groan because that's the posture that soul travail has taken. We are not trying to show off, my friend. Something has possessed us, and it's such that is bringing us to the frontiers of death. Jesus said, I am exceeding sorrowful unto death. That is the testimony of men that have poured out their life as a drink offering. These are men, and only them alone can satisfy what is in the heart of God. I am drunk with the burden of God now. I'm drunk with burden. I'm drunk with burden. I'm literally drunk with the burden of God. My friends, you can be drunk with that burden, my friends. You can be drunk with that burden. Only you can satisfy my soul. Only you can satisfy my soul. Satisfy my soul. Satisfy my soul. Only you can satisfy my soul. Amen. Susa City Kibaba. Peko Takabahatia. Abreko Talita Mana Hasita Mana. Ebete Kutamantai. Risusu Sadabare Sukabate. Lete Susana Mahadito. Rendi Siveketalila. Elefuru Susala Bahata. Sadire Vere Susana Maha. Thus said the Lord, if you will pour out your life, I will give you everything that you seek. If you will pour out your life like a drink offering, I will give you everything that you seek. Lord, give me you. Everything else can wait. Lord, give me you. I hope enough to live. Lord, give me you. 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 Everything else can wait. Lord, give me you. I hope enough to live. I cry. It's a true travail. It's a soul travail. It's a soul travail. Let your soul cry out beyond the cry of your mouth. Let your soul cry out. Let your soul cry out. He will see your travail and he will be satisfied. Everything else can wait. Lord, give me you. I hope it's not too late. Sikita baba, Peterico sikiti bara, menito, sakubere siberetwa. Lord, give me you. I hope it's not too late. Lord, give me you. 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 You will be possessed now. You will be possessed. Your walk with God will be like a possessed man. That's the way you pursue God. He so travail. When you pray like a possessed man. When you fast like a possessed man. When you study like a possessed man. It's so travail. It's not about what you are searching in the scripture. It's about your heart that is poured out in search of God and in fulfillment of his agenda. Until his hand pours. Amona sakabela solati aprete tenanti akabrendo rosso sosalabaha lefrete de mereto sakrata pamanatelia iferetele de mene reta barahata badasola rete de bereto ko sobrana batabaminata ramai 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 and I'm desperate for you. And I'm lost without you. And I'm desperate for you. Oh, I'm lost without you. I'm desperate for you. And I'm lost without you. And I'm desperate for you. And I'm lost without you. Jesus. Oh God. And he will see the travail of our soul, and he will be